Oh, hello. You've caught me enjoying Yule with my beautiful wife. I'm Taylor Ellis.
And I'm Jenny Ellis.
Welcome to the Pretty Picture Party. This is a special solstice edition. You were kind of inspired by the idea of the Ace of Wands as a solstice card.
Yeah, I think the time of year is a dark one and a cold, dark one, and we're just ready to start thinking about spring. So, yeah, the Ace of Wands sounds like uh, a really nice thing.
And for any Romans out there, I just wanted to say LO SATURNALIA. I think we're still in the days of Saturnalia, right? It starts on the 17th and then it goes through like the 21st. Is it like
It
six
might be the
days?
21st. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't quote me on that.
Okay. Well, if I post this Monday, this is, retrospective, like low Saturnalia
Yeah.
for everyone. Uh, but the Ace of Wands, it is, this is the first time that I'm not doing like a court card or a major arcana. So I have to talk about not a person this time. But I don't know, when I have that card like come up in a reading, I'm like, oh, this is a great time for like your business idea, or this is your art. This is a great chance for your art to get some attention.
Yeah, I think the Ace of Wands in a reading is like a time when you might feel inspired or driven to begin something uh that is inspiring to you, even like to the person being read for, that drives them to greater creativity in whatever it is that they're doing. Yeah.
And it's it's something where, I don't know, in the last video I talked about the page of cups is this earth of water where it's starting in this kind of grounded place. And that's like the best place to start from is at the ground floor, and that's like something with the wands, if you're thinking of it as like a living growing thing, is it's got to start there at the ground, but it reaches straight up towards the heavens. It's this direct, root upwards. And I don't know, in one card it's kind of a living torch, and then the other card it's a magic wand. So it's not exactly the same in both of them, but that's what we're going to be doing today, is making our Ellis deck slash Starbound Phantasia comparison. But um, where I would normally talk about the elemental correspondence, like I did with the court cards, where I'm saying, oh, this is earth of water. This one's just fire. So we have to just talk about
Fire.
fire, brought to you by Netflix. And, and I don't know, fire is kind of light. I don't know, from like the idea of creating or making something. um Fire is a very expressive form of art. Like you can spin fire, which is, something I used to do. And or you can uh yeah, I would stop it right there and start it again.
um the meme that came to mind was like that, oh shit, you've just seen the shadow of a flame
Mm-hmm.
meme, where it's like there was like a nuclear explosion that created like a shadow of like a candle, the flame on the candle. I don't know that.
Nice.
But I just think of like the Ace of Wands is really bright.
Yeah.
Like really, I think like the luminosity of something very bright. And I don't know if you want to talk about like uh personalized stories about the Ace of Wands, but my I guess my solstice story
Yeah.
is I used to each year on solstice go to the observatory where I used to live near, was Lowell Observatory. And in the evenings they allow you to like look through the telescopes and stuff, and they'll have like some people giving talks about, stuff about space. And there was a talk about quasars, and I was like thinking about these quasars, which are like a product of like a supermassive black hole at the center of some galaxies that are just like enormously bright. They're one of them is like the brightest object in the universe, and
Hmm.
it's like 500 trillion times brighter than the light of the sun.
Hmm.
So like imagine the sun 500 trillion times brighter, and that is like the brightness. So it's like I think of it as like an insight. Like sometimes when you finally get that idea or like something makes sense to you, it's like boom, this bright, blinding insight that you're like, okay,
And they have the audacity to call them quasi-stellar, even though they're brighter than stars.
yeah, because yeah, they're just radiating enormous amounts of energy and like ionized gas and all sorts of stuff. So they're just like really cool.
I guess they're just really far away. So we're like, well, that's not as bright as a star
Yeah,
from here. But
right.
yeah, so that it links to I Ching 30, or at least we think that that's probably the best way to look at it, is the fire over fire, which is called clinging, which fire obviously clings to a fuel. It needs something to survive, and your creativity needs something to survive. You can't really create in a bubble, or like if I spend too many days in a row drawing and not, consuming anything, intellectually or creatively, I end up just kind of I, I feel out of gas, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't do a creative career, but I feel the same. Like you kind of have to refuel yourself and whatever it is that you do to have like the drive to still bring that special something that you bring to whatever it is that you're doing. So it's like you gotta have something to cling to.
Yeah. And again, I think that's part of the energy of this time of year, is that, yeah, fire is that fuel, or needs that fuel, but then fire itself is the fuel that we've got to cling to
To keep
in
us
the
alive.
dark. And you were asking me if I had a story about this time of year, and I would say probably my favorite thing that I like to think of about this time of year was my mentor that taught me the tarot. He had this big old church that I lived in at the time with about 14 other people, and um, once a year he would open it up to the entire city. He would have a Christmas party called Fizzywig's Christmas Party, after the character in A Christmas Carol. And the doors would be open to the entire city. You could just show up. There was no invitation or anything. And he'd hire one police officer to stand at the door. And he'd started around 6 or 7 in the evening. I remember my first year. You have people coming in, and you're like, okay, well, this is kind of tame. It's somebody that lived here like 20 years ago when he opened the place up, and whatever. We'll have some snacks, and he'd have cider. He'd make it his life's work to decorate this place for Christmas. Um, and then about 2 hours later, you start to see people that you know from around town
Mhm.
coming in, and people are starting to hang out outside too. And he had a pretty good sized courtyard. There'd be little bonfires going, and everybody's smoking their cigarettes, or their spicy cigarettes out there. And um, even there's a policeman still standing at the door, that he's off duty. He's just tired to be there. And then, another hour later, the place is full, and people have been singing Christmas carols. This drum circle has shown up. And so half the church is over here singing Christmas carols. And then when they stop, this drum circle, that's, the other aspect, the pagan aspect of Christmas, they're going, and you're seeing this entire, and you see this little policeman by the door, like, man, if something happens here, I can't really stop any of this. And
Mhm.
it would go on. I think he would usually cut it off I don't know because you'd lose your sense of time, but he'd say like 10 or midnight or something. But there was always someone there till like 4 in the morning or so. And it was just it was a really neat thing to have happen. And it was so unique. And like he's passed on, and they don't really do those anymore. But that, in terms of having like a light in the middle of the dark, that definitely, brought that energy.
Yeah, I love that.
Um, so we don't have really an astrology for this. You said that it's more spring.
Yeah, you can attribute the Ace of Wands to the time of spring. Also, the time of year for Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. If you wanted to look at a timing aspect of it,
Does
yeah.
that hit you in a special way?
As an Aries sun,
You're like, no, I'm a Libra.
well, the double Libra. I don't know. I think I have a good amount of Aries still, and I would say, yeah, you're laughing over here. Um, I don't know. I guess in some ways I feel drawn to the element of fire. I'm a very like cardinal person, regardless of element. So like starting and going and doing stuff and like just doing the thing is like more my energy anyway. So, but yeah. Which you're the water earth balance to my fire
Mud.
air.
No.
Well, clay is very
Clay.
soothing, you go
Clay,
get a
yes.
facial and get like
That's true. I'm the clay pot that can hold the fire.
right.
You just made me think of something and it's gone. But we were talking about astrology and oh yeah, just the whole act of doing something in the state of like fire. It's like it definitely has its like active period, and then it burns. It's you've got ashes. It's consumed.
Yeah.
And I don't know if any of the other suits. I guess the cup kind of gets consumed, or what's inside the cup gets consumed. But
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, the element of earth, I guess soil can get depleted. And metal can get metal fatigue, but I feel like fire is really the one that has like the definite timeline.
Yeah, that you've either got to keep feeding the fire, feeding your inspiration even, or it's a very fragile thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's not like any other states of matter, you know, like solid, liquid, gas, and you have plasma, which is like kind of a weird thing, but um that's just different.
Yeah.
But
The
yeah,
Greek gods weren't even going to give it to us.
they're like, no,
No, I don't think we're going to get,
no,
no, they're going to,
we don't want you to be
yeah.
warm and fed like hot food.
You give those guys fire, in a few thousand years, they're going to have influencers. You got to just not do that. You got to keep them cold in the dark,
Yeah.
Eating raw animals or something.
Thank you, Prometheus.
Thanks,
that.
buddy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope the crows are nice to you today.
Or was it? It was an eagle, right? Zeus's eagle, I thought.
I feel like I've heard both.
Yeah.
I feel like it depends because yeah, I don't know. Now I'm thinking of Zeus's eagle, but I think before you said that I was thinking of Zeus's crows, but I think Odin had crows.
Odin had the crows, Zeus has the eagles.
Yeah.
Birds.
Yeah. Which brings us to the Yule log. Or the I don't you've been reading reversals lately. Do you think of anything with reversals for the Ace of Wands?
Maybe like a misfire. I would say a weakened form of the energy, like maybe not having all the ducks in a row.
Yeah.
And then you just like go anyway, but it's like a false start.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I know those.
Yeah. Where you're like, like my balance wasn't right. And you just like
I don't know. I feel like a trial and error person, so I don't.
For a versed Ace of Wands.
Well, that's what I was wondering if that applied, because I'm like I kind of do things by trial and error, and I'll do things wrong a few times first, and then. But like, am I wasting fuel when I'm doing that?
Yeah, it seems like very earthy of you to be like, oh, I'll just keep trial and erroring until
there's more dirt. Yeah.
Yeah. But fire, we're just like, I give up. Just
Yeah.
kidding.
But what I was originally gonna try to say was around this time of year is, when people start to bring, their plants into the house, or they have a Christmas tree in the corner, or there's a Yule log burning. And I was kind of googling and looking at the Yule logs. I was just thinking it was just a big log, like, but it's like people decorate
Oh yeah.
them. Yeah, they're
No, it's got like colors, and
yeah.
you decorate it, it burns different colors. And I know when I was a kid, we got a Yule log one year, but it wasn't like decorated, but when we lit the log, it
Mhm.
like burned different colors because it was probably loaded with heavy metals
Spiritual
and shit.
chemicals.
And we're just like breathing in burning metals
Yeah.
because that's good.
The tradition was that you would light it with a piece of the log from the year before.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either, and I think that's pretty cool. It's like the Olympic torch,
Yeah.
carrying this flame, and then it makes its way, and is a fire that starts on one piece of wood, is it the same fire, 8 logs later, when your one friend that tends the fire has completely replaced every log in the fire? Not our Netflix fire, which is the same logs.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a
Just
single.
it just
Yeah,
loops, probably. I'm not sure.
yeah, I haven't seen a single log get switched out.
Yeah.
But what I was going to get to is we'll start describing the Ellis deck in comparison to the Starbound Phantasia card. So this guy starts out with this really ornate root structure. Um, and I thought of that as like, first of all, it is going down into the earth element there to get what it needs to sustain itself. So that's almost like saying you've got to have some resources to start your craft or your art. Like usually you got to go to Michael's and drop some coin first, or I guess kids can make art out of anything. They'll go outside and get some mud and go on the wall, and yeah. But we have like a very complex root structure, which kind of suggests, anytime you see a piece of art, or any creative piece, you listen to music, there's a lot that went into that. Like Alan Watts said, to bake an apple pie from scratch, you have to start by creating the universe.
Yeah.
And it goes from there into the straightness of the wand or the rod. I call them rods in this suit because of the Aquarian tarot, and I just like that. I like the idea of magical rods. It goes up into this leaf shape and then blossoms out into these petals that look like flames. And so it was kind of this magical plant. It's like halfway between fire and being, because I don't know how many plants are on fire and alive at the same time.
True.
Probably none.
Magic plants.
Magic plants. And then I wanted to illustrate that it was not exactly in the human realm, that the realm of the rods was more like a fey realm. And one way that I did that was made the sky white and the clouds blue, which I guess aesthetically you could say, oh, well, it looks like maybe it's a gray sky with like a blue cloud that's about to drop down some rain on it. But for me, it was almost like not exactly a photo negative, but like an unreal appearance.
Yeah.
All right. And then we can talk here about the Ace of Wands from the Starbound Phantasia. And one thing, I hadn't talked about this too much in any of the other videos, but I didn't put titles at the bottom of the Starbound Phantasia cards because I wanted people to be a little bit more fluid or intuitive. And I'd been doing like a lot of listening to people like Robert Anton Wilson talk about language and reality. And I was thinking about, well, where do people's minds go if they just see the image and they're not already thinking Ace of Wands? Because maybe then they just start going into that last book they read about the Ace of Wands. They can, try to be a little bit more intuitive with it. And this one also has roots at the bottom, but they're more made out of like a light color, you can kind of see there's these little mushrooms popping up as well. And so that was kind of meant to illustrate the way that there's a forest in the background and there's roots and things like that. Is that one thing that we know now about forests is that they almost have their own little internet going. All
Mm.
the roots of all the plants are connected, and I put these little mushrooms on the bottom too, and you see them in a lot of the different uh, wand cards in this deck, and they were meant to be one, like the idea of inspiration of like the psychedelic mushroom, and what it might have done in terms of human growth and philosophy and changes of perspective, but then also that's how that plant reproduces. It's how spores get spread, and ideas are like spores, and art is this way of reproducing ideas.
Yeah, I love that.
um and so it goes up, and so you think about the staff that has the serpent wound around it. And okay, is it one that I should know this, but is it one that has two serpents as a caduceus, or is okay?
Yeah.
So then the one that's just one serpent, that's just a magic staff, then it doesn't have a special cool name.
Yeah, I guess it could be whatever you wanted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as artists, or we're special. We just, oh, I'll make it look cool and worry about it later. But so again, like the fire energy, or the kundalini energy building from the root and moving upwards, and how we take that primal energy to create and use it for more than just like human reproduction. It's like the art. A lot of times art pieces are artists' children's. A lot of times artists sacrifice the child rearing years of their life to try to grind out art. They can get to, even if they get to an age where they've made it, they might not have any kids, but they have things that they've put into the world.
Hmm.
And they want to make sure that they get out and get legs of their own and get seen. So we have the serpent. We have up at the top is kind of a it's kind of a crown, and it's kind of a flower, but it's also meant to represent that flowering, fiery energy. And then there's this spiritual sort of evil eye at the top that has the actual flower in it. So it's that light casting out and like shining light on something.
Yeah. 500 trillion suns worth of light.
Yeah, there's the quasar. There we go. We got to the quasar. All right. Okay, so between the two, you have just kind of a really simple plant coming out of the ground, and then you've got your crazy magic wand, and this one is also sort of in an otherworldly situation. I remember in the Starbound Phantasia, we kind of made the story like it was a lab,
Yeah.
like
Well,
like
it was a planet of people doing genetic experiments,
yeah.
basically. Yeah, to create light on their dark planet.
And genetic engineering is almost Promethean. That's almost
Yeah.
like stolen fire, because we're taking, DNA and something that was like, you could call that like the language of the gods or something. And we're giving it to something instead of nature that just, mercilessly throws DNA at a wall and sees what sticks. You're giving it to something with an ego.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we all watched Frankenstein.
Well, yeah, just any technology is, you apply your own morals to it at
Yeah.
everyone's peril, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's like the Philosopher's Stone. It's neither good nor bad. If you give it to a good person, they're going to do good things with it. You give it to the bad person, they're going to do bad things with it.
Mhm.
Or like the I Ching, if the right person does the right things with it, it'll work correctly. But if a bad person does bad things with it, they will do bad things correctly.
Right.
So I guess in conclusion, if you see this card, it's kind of like it's time to start harnessing that personal fire of yours. What is it that you want to see go out into the world? What is it you're carrying a torch for?
Yeah, I'd say like nurturing and finding your inspiration, and what is something that would drive you to feel more authentically creative in your own way. So,
Yeah,
or just stay warm during the winter, with
exactly.
several Yule logs.
If you've made it this far into the video, thank you for watching. Please hit like and subscribe. It's a really nice way to support me and not spend any money at all. If you'd like to see some more of my art, you can go to illustrations.net. If you'd like to buy either tarot deck, you can go to bigcartel.illustrations.com. I've got some nice 8x12 print on demand prints that you can get from another website I'll list below that I haven't memorized. Thank you, Jenny, for joining us today in
Thank you.
front of the flaming pits of hell. Thank you, Plush Egg, just for being adorable. And have a happy solstice, low Saturnalia. Happy reading.